What do you get when you have a cheap exterior but a high performance interior? Well, you just might have some of the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves this week. So let's check them out. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the KnifeCenter New Knives of the Week video.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday. It is a bonus New Knives of the Week video because every once in a while we just get so much new stuff in at once that it doesn't all fit into one episode. So you're welcome, I guess, for an extra.
Sorry, otherwise?
Sorry, stroke, you're welcome. Anyway, alluded to before the cut scene there at the beginning, we have several knives starting off the video this week using injection molded handles, which is a way that manufacturers are able to keep prices lower on things, with high performance blade steel within. So some would say, would argue these are the best bang for the buck in terms of performance that you can get. This type of construction enables that at the very least. Let me show you what I mean right here. This is perfect case in point. The CJRB Pyrite-Light with an S90V blade going for about 80 bucks right now. Not a cheap knife if you compare it to the $30 starting price of the Pyrite-Light, but several leagues or several jumps up the performance tier from the RPM 9 blade steel of those base models all the way up to S90V. Stainless steel, of course, very, very high edge retention, and it is just a bargain to behold in this format right here. And it's cool to see this jump up in blade steel too, because the Pyrite-Light is a very good design, very useful design. 3.34 inch blade, modified Wharncliffe shape, so you got a very acute tip, just a hint of belly to the edge itself. It's gonna give you both sort of that combination of what a sheep's foot can do with mostly straight edges. You're able to kind of really push hard through some cuts, but you've got a very acute tip for piercing or dragging work like so. And handles are gray FRN, but it's more like just barely gray. They're almost white, just enough quote unquote black is entered into the color there to kind of knock the shine off of what would be a stark white otherwise, but it still feels, you know, white. Feels like sun bleached bone almost. A little texture molded into the handle there, a little bit of contour to the shape as well, rather than just being a flat handle slab, which is nice. And you've got the button lock mechanism right there, offering finger safe closing action and nice snappy action with the detent when you use the thumb studs to open that blade. Feels pretty good. You got about 4-finger grip, or at least I do with my slightly larger than average hands, and that's even without using this unguarded finger choil right here to get up for more detail-oriented work if you like. It's also got some other kind of nice touches, like a crowned spine. Usually you see that on more expensive knives, but that's actually a detail you see on the $30 versions of this too, which is also pretty cool. And nice thin blade stock with a high flat grind means it's going to be very efficient in its cutting as well, especially when you get out near the tip. There's even less to get in the way, less drag on material. It's very, very nice. Reversible pocket clip too. Don't forget to mention that. Also new on the scene is a new variant of the Ka-Bar Dozier Folding Hunter, a long-standing model at this point in the lineup, but now with S35 VN blade steel. Same kind of concept here, taking in this case, long paid off tooling or molding for the handle scales here and giving it, you know, a big V8 engine under the plastic body, basically. 73 bucks for this one, 3-inch spear point blade, high hollow grind in this case, and a handle that is both neutral and long enough that any hand size should have a decent enough time gripping this. It might not be the hand fillingest of grips, but there's nothing about it that's going to kind of prevent you from getting a good neutral solid feel on the knife. This design has always been very efficient in its packaging around the pivot area. And what I mean by that is you can kind of get up right towards the edge or to the back of the heel with your hand right there. There's just like a hint of a finger guard curve here, meaning it doesn't get in the way and gives you, a bigger handle to grab hold of. Here's a classic example of other ways it can be done, like on this Spyderco Delica we'll get to in a moment, where you're kind of a little bit farther away from the edge. There's pros and cons to that, of course. The pros being you can get right up there for real fine detail work. We've got reversibility on this design. It has a single-sided thumb stud, but it can be removed and swapped around to left-hand configuration. Likewise, the pocket clip is reversible for left or right carry, and of course the mid-mounted lock back is perfectly ambidextrous as well. Very nice. Cheapest versions of these, actually to compare to the Pyrite-Light, why don't we? Least expensive versions of the Folding Hunter standard version are about 37 or so bucks. Those come with AUS-8 blades. So the cheapest ones are more expensive than the cheapest Pyrite-Light, but the most expensive, this one, is less expensive than the most expensive Pyrite-Light. I thought you were going to say
that
something,
makes sense.
Thomas.
2 different steels.
Yep, 2 different steels. Like S90 definitely, again, it sits a tier or so above, a couple tiers above the S35, I would say. So yeah, that's pretty cool. About 35 for the, oh, whoa, actually, hang on. The plot thickens. I just found a version on our site for $27 of the Dozier there for the least expensive version. That's with the really bright green handles. So there you go. That's fun. Speaking of colored handles, we have, keeping the theme going here, the Gerber Assert. New versions of this, well, the standard versions of this have always kind of kept or used this methodology with injection molded handles and higher performance blade steel. S30V is in the old versions. This version features MagnaCut blade steel. And why is MagnaCut so special? Sorry for the long-suffering viewers who are tired of me explaining what it is, but if you don't know, it is a stainless steel that is both highly, or very tough and very, what is it?
You just put your little quip on a soundboard, man.
What we need to do, so I'm a big fan of like Good Eats, the Alton Brown show, and we'll just put like blacken the screen a little bit and put the fun fact up with like do music, and we'll describe what MagnaCut is right there. I don't know.
That'll work great on radio.
MagnaCut is a stainless steel. It also holds a very good edge. It has a really strong edge. Man, I'm just really, man.
Edge retention, toughness, and stainless, all 3, really good.
It is very tough. It holds an edge very well, and it is stainless. Most stainless steels can pick 1 or 2 of those other categories to really like push the performance envelope on. This does it all very well.
Unlike our host.
I don't do a lot very well in combination right now, so it would seem. Anyway, back to the knife. Just under 3 inches long with this straight clip point shape. MagnaCut made in the USA. The whole knife, not just the steel, of course, here. Although future batches of the steel are no longer going to be made in the USA, so interesting. And the injection molded handle here with a deep carry pocket clip. Sort of a 3-finger grip, quite honestly, for me. It's almost a 3.5-finger grip, but not quite for me. I mean, maybe if I squeeze in just a little bit. If you've got like medium or smaller sized hands, might be a little more accommodating to you. Your mileage will, of course, vary. They're cool. The 2 cooler things that Gerber does here, one, it's maybe less revolutionary, certainly not revolutionary, but you have a movable / removable thumb stud right here. So you can move this forward or backward in the track, depending on where you might like it placed, or you could remove it entirely. You don't need the thumb stud to open and close a crossbar locking knife like this, of course, because you can just do that wrist flick open or closed. But even with the thumb stud removed, you do have a blade cutout. So you could, as you can see, open that just fine with your thumb that way, or even reverse flick it with no thumb stud at all. So that's pretty cool. The other cool thing that Gerber does with this lock mechanism here, well, maybe it's less about the lock, but it's the washer essentially is not just a circle. You can kind of see in there, they've specially shaped the washer material and it sticks out here where your thumb might rest. So you can see that visibly. And basically it's an oversized washer. And one of the benefits of that is it is very, very stable in that open position. Most crossbar locking knives in the open position have a little bit of wiggle. This has just the barest hint. It is one of the ways to kind of introduce a little more stability to this, this type of locking mechanism, which is of course an ambidextrous operation and finger safe closing lock. And I can fumble it too, just like I can fumble anything else if I wish. It's the Gerber Assert. Feels like I'm really fumbling over it. I'm not sure why. Let us hope this next one is fixes that a little bit. The Delica. Spyderco has long been a champion of big high-performance blades in a more cost-efficient handle, and this is no exception. They've brought their proprietary Spy 27 blade steel to the Delica for the first time, or the Delica lightweight at least for the first time. 120 bucks for this, Japanese made, just under 3-inch blade here. Full flat grind, distal taper on the blade itself, so you've got very, very keen and slicey geometry overall, and plenty of grip too. More grip than any of these other knives so far because of their insanely, not insanely, that's a negative connotation, but the aggressively bidirectionally textured handle, a molded texture in the handle. My goodness. Give myself a couple slaps and start this whole video over.
I got next.
4-position pocket clip means you can carry it any which way you like. Mid-mounted pocket clip. They're mid-mounted lockback, ambidextrous opening with the thumb hole there. This has long been a staple of the Delica, the ability for lefties or righties to use it. Not all the way down its history, but for a long time anyway. And it caters to a lot of different carry preferences too, as you can see. 4 handles, or it's got a 4-handle grip for your fingers.
All 4 hands.
Now people are going to think I'm purposely messing up, but I'm really not. I'm not sure why I'm having such a problem today.
We don't do anything on purpose here.
Ooh, boy. The Delica is a classic knife. It deserves its place in history for sure, and it deserves to still be mentioned now, even not in a historical context. Cool to see another great new blade steel there. Where would you rank, or where would I rank Spy 27? It's sort of, I think of it as sort of similar to like S35, the S45, and in that kind of tier. Obviously it's not an identical steel, so it's going to behave a little bit differently here and there, but it kind of sits in like a similar spectrum in my opinion, but it's maybe even a little easier to sharpen and strop than S35 and S45 could be. It's a cool knife. Stop fumbling. Want to see me fumble some more?
Yay!
Let's see how it goes. The last of the plastic fantastics, which they've called the Corvette that, right?
Kind of.
It's kind of the same concept with some of the Corvettes over the years, like fiberglass and plastic body with a big V8 in it. Let's check out the latest additions to Benchmade's Water series. One of the things the series has been lacking from the beginning is a serrated blade option, which is something that you might think would be a shoo-in for an aquatic or seafaring series of knives. Well, they have rectified this now, as well as introduced a new color variant to the Adira series of knives. This is that new color, the standard-sized Adira. It comes with a MagnaCut blade, just about 3.9 inches long, available with or without serrations. This is the partial serrated version right here, but you don't have to get that. It can be a plain-edged version. Kind of a dark blue. They call it. They just call it blue. That's boring. But then they call this Tempest Gray. Tempest Blue, that'd be good sounding. Blade itself kind of is sort of a taller variation of the Griptilian style blade. In effect, it makes it a little more slicing efficient as well because of the height of the grind where it is, and the blade steel. Actually, that might be thinner than a Griptilian. Let's find out. We have an old Griptilian right here. It's about the same thickness as a Griptilian. Sorry. My internal monologue was lying to me there for just a moment. But it is broader and probably a little bit slicier as a result too. Anyway, injection molded handles here. Cool taper going on. That's one of the cool things that you see more on injection molded handles is maybe a slightly more complex handle shape rather than competition that might use more simply shaped G10 or micarta, because those extra steps, the extra shape takes a little time to mill, whereas this could be whatever shape you want. It just presses out of the mold like that, so that's pretty cool. Feels pretty solid in the hand. It's not super light, about 4.23 ounces, so it's not gonna weigh you down for the size it is, but it's also not like a featherweight knife, if that's what you're looking for. Nice aggressive finger guard there at the front to keep your hand from slipping forward, which can be very especially advantageous if your hands are wet or you're working underwater. Last thing you wanna do is get a slicing injury on your fingers when you might be miles away from the ability to be assisted. Deep carry pocket clip, reversible, and you've got this fob with bead on the back for aid in extraction right there. You can get this same color in the Mini, and that's $260 for the full size, $230 for the Mini, with a 3.2-ish inch blade. You can get that new color with or without serrations, and you can get the original color now with serrations in both the Mini and the full-sized version. The Mini one is a little bit trickier to recommend depending on your hand size. For me, I'm either off the back and I'm spread out here in the front, or I try to get here right behind the finger guard there, and my pinky just doesn't appreciate sitting where it is right there. Again, medium or smaller hands, no problem. Maybe even bigger hands than mine, no problem. I wear between a size large and extra large glove, depending on the manufacturer. I know that's an imprecise metric to communicate with you, but it's kind of hard to come up with much better. Anyway, there's the Mini. The Intersect, small pocket style fixed blade, also available now with partial serrations, $200, MagnaCut steel, 2.68 inches, and 3.5 finger grip, or very comfy 3-finger grip with the addition of the lanyard fob there at the back for extra traction. Pinch points there on the injection molded handles, which have a little bit of grip as opposed to the harder plastic of the 2 folders right here, and very useful blade shape, full jimping up and down the spine, so you've got a lot of extra traction there. The sheath is bigger than you might expect given the blade size, but here it is injection molded. It is ambidextrous, so it'll work left or right. Comes with an extra snap here for peace of mind. There we go. I said there I go, and then I let it slip out of my grip right there. And you can carry it on the belt if you wish. You can use these 2 slots as an integrated belt loop. It might be a little cumbersome to do, but you can do it. You can also apply, thanks to the slot and the holes here, any number of aftermarket sheath attachments like a tech lock or anything like that, or you can use the nice clip right there, either in the pocket or inside the waistband, no problem. Enough plastic knives for today. Let's get into some other stuff. I've said on this channel before, or communicated the sentiment of, we see so many knives here, and 95+% of the time, the knife is a black handle and a light colored blade, or a black handle and a black colored blade. And that's fine. There are 0 things wrong with that. However, we see it a lot. So I like to see more personality sometimes, more color. Be more excited by the visual flair of some of the knives that are available. And this right here is a shining example of something that I love just because it looks awesome. It performs awesome too. Like, there's nothing wrong with the Heretic Manticore X right here, despite its cartoonish or comic book styled looks. This is the cell shaded version of it. It's just awesome, man. It has so much cool personality going on. And I'll be honest, first time I saw some of these, this finish in pictures, wasn't quite sure what I thought about it. I thought that could be cool, but it was hard to tell in photos versus in person. In person, with this orange colorway anyway, I think it looks great. $455 for this. You've got 3.7-inch MagnaCut blade. We've got double-edged, as well as the slightly recurved drop point blade profiles right now. Aluminum handle, just like the standard ones. Standard pocket clip here, which is reversible as well. Authoritative action, for sure. And it just makes you smile. If you don't like the styling of it, there's plenty of other Manticores you could choose from too. From the smaller versions, the Manticore S, just over 3 inches long, to the full-size Manticore X. We've got black on black and black on silver versions as well. Currently in stock as well. Those are about $350 to $370-ish, more or less. So you could certainly save a bit of money if you don't want the cell shade version right here, but a lot of fun, in my opinion. Next up, another double-edged OTF automatic, the DC Munroe collaboration Cypher 2 with Microtech. And this is a really cool kind of iridescent snake scale type of finish. It's not actually iridescent, but it mimics that. I really like it. There's a couple different colors of this. There's a red variant that we've got on the shelf right now that I think is really awesome. And these run about $472. 3.5 inch blade, 350 inches aren't divisible by 10, so I don't know what I would be able to say that would be. M390 MK blade steel, which is very similar to M390, but is super, super precise. It's got a degree of variance way, way less than pretty much any other powder metal out there. Super precise stuff, very high edge retention, of course, as well. $472 for this. Did I mention that yet?
Maybe.
Can't remember. And this features all of Microtech's latest, almost all of Microtech's latest technology advancements. The one thing it doesn't have going for it right now is the new zero blade play mechanic. So there's just a hint of wiggle right there, which again is part and parcel to almost every OTF on the market. But you have the super clean aluminum chassis here front, no extra screws here to kind of muck up the aesthetics. You just got the one single one here at the back. You've also got the new firing mechanism, which is super smooth and very easy to use. And you've got the crud cutter there in underneath the slide, reduces friction and gives a place for pocket lint to get out of the way of the switch as you're using it. Very cool. Tons of personality. And there's other stuff too. You can get, black on black versions of that if you wish. If you want to be that guy.
That guy.
Ironic that the next knife is more or less that.
There he is.
There's that guy. The LUDT Gen III, $297 for this. This one has a little bit more to it than just black on silver or black on black. And it's subtle, but it makes, in my opinion, a fairly big difference. You got this essentially like bronze treatment to the firing button here and the stop pin at the back. That's it. Oh, maybe one of the barrel spacers is there too. So it's just this little bit of difference, but it's enough to tweak it just a little bit, make it feel a little more, a little less pedestrian, shall we say. We've got Tanto, partially serrated Tanto, and drop point versions of this configuration at this point in time, when we're filming this video at least. You got a 3.5 inch blade, M390 MK, which we just talked about. Two-tone finish here, aluminum handle with traction grip inserts right here, tapering handle there towards the back. Definitely gives you enough there for a decent grip. It's not the bulkiest of handles, but if I choked up, getting my index finger around the pivot, I can absolutely get a full grip on this knife and push it harder. So in a way, it's kind of just enough there to be full size without overloading you with taking up room in your pocket, I should say. Side opening, which is not the thing you think of first when you think of Microtech. You usually think of out the front automatics like this, but they do a side opening action just as good as anyone else out there at the top of the genre for sure. And you can hear it, right? Ooh, that was nice. Ooh, it's a little ting going on, I like it. Anyway, there you go, check that out. A little bit more of an EDC friendly design. I say that, there's no reason you can't EDC a double edge, but this is a little more, dare I say, useful. I will dare. Uh-oh. It's black on black on black. This is the second of 3 Spydercos we've got peppered throughout the video today. This is a distributor sprint run of the Smock folder right here. 277 and some change. 3.5 inch CruWear blade with a titanium carbonitride finish. And it has that metallic look that this finish can sometimes pull off. So it's, it's not just like painted on. This is also not painted on, but you can see the difference between that and the Microtech we just looked at. This has a more flat matte appearance, which can be a good thing depending on what you're going for. But this one has a shinier, more metallic feel to it. And they paired that up with black aluminum for the handles here. You've got a button actuated compression lock. Gives you left-hand friendliness in addition to finger-safe closing. And you can flick it open. You've also got a small thumb hole for opening. A little bit smaller than most Spydercos, but it still is usable. I've never tried, you can reverse flick it. I've never tried before, but it's small for that. You've also got a flipper tab squared off there at the back for opening that way. Handle, it's about 3.5 fingers for me in the standard grip right here, but as you can see, plenty of space to choke up on for, again, a full-sized grip. You know, got a lot extra hanging out there actually, so big hands could certainly use this quite effectively. We've got a modified sheep's foot profile. We've got a hollow grind saber height on that blade right there. Very, very thin behind the edge, as you can see. And you've got CruWear, so the extra toughness of that steel is going to support that very thin edge pretty nicely. Reversible pocket clip, tip up, left or right. Take your pick. Let's keep the aluminum handle train going. So there's plastic, 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 aluminum, aluminum, aluminum. I need some sort of theme to keep me moving through these videos. Is it working?
Maybe.
Barely. Barely holding it together. The TALOS 2 from Spartan, from their Field Grade series. The original TALOS was featuring a G10 handle with a liner lock and CTS XHP steel. The new versions right here, available with a black or a stonewash blade, feature an aluminum handle with a frame lock and 154 cm for the steel. 175 for these. You've got a 3 1/8 inch long blade, and the handle itself, very, very Bill Harsey in its flavor, which is a good thing because that's who designed this knife after all. You can sort of think of this as the budget alternative to the small versions of the SHF, the Spartan Harsey folder, especially now that it has the frame lock option right there. Blade is not super thin. They went for a little more strength here, but you do have a high flat grind to mitigate that a little bit. Very nice acute tip, nice pointy tip as well. Handle works for me, about a 3.5 finger grip. The finger grooves don't get in my way too much, which is nice. That's always a danger, but these are shallow enough that it shouldn't present too much of a problem to most folks, I don't think. There is the folded profile. You've got a right side deep carry clip in this case. Very snappy action in there. Are these ball bearings or washers actually? Because the Spartan Harsey folder is of course washers. I think these are bearings, but they don't have that super glassy feel to them. Feel nice though. There you go. Nice matte texture on the aluminum. It's not going to slip out of your hand too nicely, and a really cool starburst finish coming out from the pivot area there as well, as you can see. I like it. Very cool little upscale feeling EDC. Next up, we have the VK-Kuze from Bestech, a titanium handled knife right here. This is coming in about $230. We've got a 3 1/4 inch blade, MagnaCut steel, and technically a drop point, just barely drops down there towards the tip. Nice satin finish on that. Neutral finish to the titanium handles right here. This is not something that's going to be too shouty in contrast to the Heretic that we looked at earlier. So if you like the more subtle thing, this is definitely might be more your speed. There we go. Got it out just barely. Single position thumb stud on this knife, and it must be a press fit, I'm guessing, because you don't have Torx or any type of fastener head on the back here. So I don't think you'd be able to reverse it around, but the frame lock on it is of course a right hand facing lock anyway. So it's just gonna be what it's gonna be. For opening, you've got thumb studs or a front flipper, and usually I would prefer thumb studs over a front flipper any time of the day, but for this one, I'm finding it a little tricky to use the thumb studs if I'm honest. Your mileage may vary, but being a frame lock, you gotta make sure you're not putting pressure on that lock bar. It's very easy to accidentally do that. There we go, if you're trying to get at the thumb studs. Let's try the front flipper though. It works. Not my favorite, but it works. Some of you out there are gonna like it a lot more than me, that is for sure. Did I mention MagnaCut for the blade steel?
No, you have.
We've got MagnaCut for the blade steel. Feels good in the hand. There's something I appreciate about this that I liked about the Dozier we talked about earlier. Neutral handle, efficient packaging here around the pivot so you can get right up there when you want to. Less of a finger guard, almost no finger guard here in this case, however, so keep that in mind. If you're using this as more light everyday carry, go for it. But don't go like poking stuff with it too aggressively without that finger guard there. I like the pocket clip though, the best right here. It is milled, or at least yeah, it is milled. I thought I saw a seam there for just a moment. It's milled, but look at this cool shape going on. Rather than a big chunky block here at the back, they've given it just enough for what it needs to secure it from the inside and still have a cool shape going on. That's gonna sit nicely in the pocket and then sit flatter towards the pocket when it is in that at-rest position. So less sticking out to catch your hand as you're going past it or going into your pocket next to it for something else. Take your pick. There, pretty cool. There's also a black version as well. And a gray version, as opposed to the lighter gray version. There's a darker gray version. You can check that out too. The Bestech or Bestechman Angry Owl is the next knife. Least expensive knife on the table so far, just under $54. You've got a 3 1/4 inch blade, drop point, kind of broad, almost butcher-like styling. Compound grind, you've got a thicker or a stouter flat grind out there near the tip for a little more strength. Full length swedge to remove a little bit of drag from the spine so you can cut through things a little more efficiently. That belly is gonna slice really nicely too. Several flavors of G10 for the handles. I'm gonna say this one is the cinnamon flavored or cinnamon flavored if you're trying to trigger the internet. Why not? If they're not mad at me already for the lousy job I've been doing today, that's not gonna change things, I don't think. But anyway, whatever you call the recipe for the handle color here, I do like the shape a lot. It has just really nicely considered lines, both from an aesthetic and an ergonomic perspective. It's working really nicely for me. You have a reversible deep carry pocket clip with an inset pocket, as you can see, and flush head screws to make for no snag points when you're going back into the pocket, and a button actuated liner lock in this case. You can see the liner there moving from the inside. This is not a compression style lock, a la Spyderco's compression lock, but it sits kind of back a little bit, similar to what you see there on the Smock that we looked at earlier. So you've got your finger safe closing, you've got your left or right hand utility built in, which is quite nice. And one of the advantages of having the button moved a little further back from the pivot is if you're getting in there to pinch around the pivot, doing pinch cuts like this, or really digging into something. Let's see if I can show where my thumb hits it. It's in front of that button, so it's not really pushing on it so much. That is sort of the downfall of some button locks, where if you're too close, you might suffer from that. Some, like this Pyrite-Light, get around that by burying it a little bit in the handle, and that definitely helps with this one. But you can see my fingers are on it just a little bit. So if that's something that has worried you about button locks traditionally, this is an alternate option, even if it is more proud on this one right here. But this has that advantage, as does that Spyderco we looked at earlier. We've got a hole for blade opening in this knife, like we do on the Spyderco as well. And it works quite nicely. The action on this is nice. The sound, the feeling when it locks up has a really, really satisfying thing going on. I like it. It's a little bit unusual, yet still hits what I like to see for just kind of basic utility-driven everyday carry folding knives. I think it's cool. Next up, let's have some more fixed blades. It's been too long since we've had a fixed blade in the lineup today.
Literally yesterday.
Well, it's right here. But it was several knives ago. The Step fixed blade from Bestech, a Denis Simonuti design. Coming in about 70 bucks. You've got a D2 upswept Tonto blade, about 3.2 inches. Micarta on this version with some milling. It's technically straight lines, like straight across, but it almost feels, maybe it's the color a little bit, but it almost feels like jigged bone in a way, in terms of the vibe it gives off. So that's kind of cool. We've got a crown spine on this and all the way around the handle as well to keep there from being a crisp edge there that might otherwise raise a hot spot. 3-ish finger grip for me, yeah, or 3.5-ish, I should say. Or should I say 4-ish, actually. So I do have my fourth finger on there. It is kind of hitting right there at the peak. I can get behind it a little bit. No lanyard attachment spot on this knife, however. So if that's something you like on your smaller fixed blades, you're not going to find that here, unfortunately. I like this little cutout of the handle scale right here. That has the effect of making the blade look a little bit longer without actually increasing its tip to scale length. and that kind of balances it out visually a little bit different, which is pretty cool. And we've got a Kydex sheath, as you can see right there. No belt attachment is provided, unless Thomas just didn't get it out of the box.
That was last week, I don't remember.
But a large tech lock will work, which means, of course, this VVT clip will also work quite fine. With either of those attachments, you'll be able to set it up for horizontal or vertical carry quite easily. You'll be able to get it on and off your belt quite easily. And you'll have this, everyday carry focused, yet like tactically inspired a little bit knife design going on. The Tonto kind of leads you to think of that kind of tactical usage, but it should be a pretty useful shape, even if you're just opening boxes. This next knife, however, in terms of the usefulness of its shape, I think does one thing. Ripping and tearing, basically, right here. Well, it's sharp, so it's not going to tear. It's going to, cut. But this thing is all about aggression. This is the LOTAR Combat KHATOOL, or KHATOOL Gen III NEKAMAH IDF Mil-Spec Elite. Mouthful, but there it is. It's coming in about just under $500, $496, with a 6-inch S90V blade. S90V is not cheap. And they didn't go with a small injection molded handle to keep the price lower, of course, too. But this Israeli-made knife is designed for intimidation, ferocity, and I assume it works well in a combat scenario. I'm not combat trained, however, but it certainly has a bit of those like fantasy knife vibes as well. So you've got 1, 2, 3 recurved edges on the front side. You have a sharpened edge at the back, and you have serrations running the whole way, or running from the thumb ramp to 2/3 of the way or so out the blade. Handles are G10. You've got a protruding tang here at the back, or protruding pommel. Protruding tang, yeah, both works. So you can bash with it. It's got some traction points there without being too sharp. It gives you grip, gives you extra friction without being crispy. And inverted grip for me feels okay. Standard grip right here really feels locked in with that thumb ramp guard there at the back and the finger guard at the front. The sheath is Kydex. Comes with this clip here at the back for taking on and off your belt. And this can be, if you loosen this screw a little bit, you can pivot that to an alternate carry angle if you wish. Take your pick. Or throw a tech lock on there. That'll work also with that option. There's also an all black version. Am I just making that up? No, there is also an all black version. That actually, that has a spec difference I should mention. Instead of S90V, you've got 3V on the black version, which is gonna give you more toughness, definitely. And that one comes in at $399. So you can save some bucks if you want that one, almost $100 if you want to go with that version instead. Next up, we have the Fox Defender fixed blade. Very clearly inspired by stuff like the classic K-Bar, the Mark II fighter. Blade is a little bit longer than those knives and certainly wider as well. About almost 7.5 inches. N690 CO for the blade steel, so it's a stainless option with this type of styling. It's not something you see as often from some of the domestic manufacturers. And instead of stacked leather, we do have wood for the handles. These are walnut. Cap there at the back, and it is nice and seamless looking at the back, which makes me wonder where the tang terminates in here. Let's see if my magnets can find out. Yeah, I've got pull going all the way back to it. So I'm not sure how it connects to the back, but at least you have that full length tang going on as well. The feel in the hand is good, if a bit round. You might have to pay attention to it twisting on you just a little bit, but you got that nice chunky guard right there as opposed to the thinner guard of most Mark IIs, and a very cool looking blade to boot. Here is the sheath. It's leather, comes with a thigh tie down, as you can see, and a standard style of loop, or with a snap to hook over the guard there and keep it in that leather sheath right there. Very cool. How many, there are some other versions of this too. This one right here is about $163. There is an all black version to keep the theme going for today. Same steel, injection molded handles on that one. That one's $193 and so just under $194. So interesting, the injection molded version is more expensive. Next up, we have one more Spyderco, and this is actually also a Fox. like the knife we just looked at. This is the Essenza, Ricardo Gobato design, and I may or may not be pronouncing that name correctly. But this is actually made for Spyderco by Fox. It is a variation of their Knops folder, one of the more difficult names in the knife product lineup these days. But that version does not have, of course, the signature Spyderco opening hole right here. It'll be a little sleeker presentation of this, this design. We've got N690 for the blade, 3.2 inches long, gorgeously, perfectly crowned spine from tip to tail. I guess you can call that the tail there. And black aluminum for the handles here as well. Liner lock, tail-mounted deep carry pocket clip. Pretty decent feel in the hand for an otherwise, what might otherwise seem like a narrow handle. Feels pretty good. Here is the closed position, as you can see right there. And as you can see on the back of the blade, you also have the Fox logo, not just the Spyderco logo on the front. Flicking action with that reverse flick is quite nice. The thumb ramp provided by the opening hole gives you there a little bit more to push onto than the standard Knops would, but it's got the same nice upswept drop point to the blade, or plenty of belly to the drop point, giving you a nice bit of sliceability. Nice feel of sliceability. There you go. About $157 and some change for this knife right here. But anyway, the Knops, as I mentioned, is similar. If you don't like the blade hole, that knife is a flipper opener. So if you don't like flippers and you don't like the hole on that, then buy something else, I guess. Last but not least, we have the ASP PDK Slim, which is Police Duty Knife Slim assisted opener right here. 3.66 inch for the blade. We've got AUS 8 for the steel, and the price is about $72. You've got two G10 handle options. This is the white and black layered version, or white and gray, I should say. There is also a, actually the handle's the same. You can get it in the stonewashed finish or a black finish for the blade. Actually, this kind of gives you, well, again, it's a flipper, but similar vibes to the Essenza we just looked at here, but a little bit longer. And of course, a bit more of a pokier blade shape, generally speaking. We've got big blue accent there with the aluminum backspacer. We've got a deep carry clip pocketed into the handle right there, as you can see, and that is reversible for either side, which is quite nice. And they're actually secured from, you can't remove it without taking apart the knife. So if you want to flip that over to the left-hand side, you can. It's just going to take a little bit of doing. Liner lock for security, assisted opening as mentioned. So you've got nice, repeatable, dependable action right there, and fills the hand pretty well too, more than you might think. It's due to the slightly thicker, blockier nature of the handles, kind of the same deal as the Spyderco we just looked at. So despite the slim nature, it's not really slim in the thickness department, it's just slim in the width department right there. And I like the blade. For as narrow as it is, it manages to have a decent amount of character, so that is pretty cool. Anyway, that is all we've got for today, folks. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. Let me know what you want to see later in this week. We've already got most of the knives picked out, but you can let us know anyway. Bonus new knives, as mentioned right now, more new knives later this week. If you want to get your hands on any of them, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program or our new Sezzle payment options to break up these more expensive knives into more manageable chunks. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.